Bora. Na verdade, só acertando. Você quer levar para quem?
A minha de cá ou de lá?
Tá valendo, viu, Nagir?
É isso?
Estamos aqui mais uma vez aqui com o podcast. Temos um convidado especial aqui hoje. Daqui a pouco ele vai ser introduzido para vocês. E se alguém tiver alguma pergunta, pode mandar para a gente vai responder. O nosso convidado vai responder em inglês. Se precisar de traduzir, a Nagi vai fazer a tradução. E queremos agradecer também aos nossos patrocinadores, a Crabtree Toyota em Waratão, do nosso amigo Vanil, o Track My Guys Work Emporium, do nosso amigo Ananias, São Paulo Brazilian Grill, da nossa amiga Najibe, Brazilian Steakhouse, da nossa amiga Najibe, Chuina Production, DJ Dudu Cat, nosso amigo Bad Boy da Diamond Club. Queremos agradecer a todos vocês pela parceria com a gente, que está sempre aí dando essa moral para a gente. O nosso amigo Zil, o nosso CEO aqui, o Alex. Agradecer a todos vocês. E agora o nosso convidado vai ser introduzido para vocês. Ele vai falar quem ele é. A gente vai conversar sobre alguns assuntos importantes aqui da comunidade. E vocês façam suas perguntas. Nós estamos aqui para esclarecer para vocês todas as dificuldades que vocês têm sobre o aspecto da nossa comunidade, sobre a lei na nossa comunidade, os crimes, o que acontece por aqui. E agora, John, just introduce yourself for our community.
I think most of you guys know me by now. Johnny Krupinsky here. I've been in this community for over 60 years now. I've been working at the police department for the last 43 years. It's hard when you get in there that long, you know?
Oh. Wow, great.
43 years?
43 years. I've been a police officer since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
In Danbury
I worked 4 years in Ridgefield before I left Ridgefield to come to Danbury for the last. I started in Danbury in 1985.
Wow. 1985.
40 years here in Danbury.
Wow.
So you know Danbury like the palm of
I've
your
seen
hand.
12 generations of kids grow up in this city by now. It's funny, like, the people that, I've dealt with, and, like, everybody thinks police, you're only out there to arrest people and this and that, but one thing I really love about this job is, as a cop, you're actually out there dealing with people, and, if you can, the guys that are good cops can solve problems without arresting anybody. If you can go to a complaint, and when you leave, if both people are happy and nobody got arrested, the cop will be the most happy because he doesn't have to do any paperwork. But if you can make two people happy and resolve issues, it's give you good self-satisfaction. But, some of these people I've gone there, things like car accidents or in one situation, like probably one of my most memorable things, I won't identify the victim, but girl was 14 years old. And a guy dragged her into the woods and was in the process of sexually assaulting her. It was a late night, and I happened to be driving down Rose Street. I could hear the screaming from the railroad tracks, and when I jumped out and ran up there, I was able to get there just in time and arrest that individual.
And save the girl.
But me and her, we've been friends for, that was 35 years ago. Now she has children, and when I see the children, don't matter where that girl is, I can be at any event. If she's in that room, she will push people out of the way to come and give me a hug.
Oh, how nice.
I look forward to that. So those are the things that really mean something in this job, not how many tickets you can write and what else you can do.
The thing is interesting because you are working this town before all this, the most part of the immigrant community come down here like 40 years ago, and now you see all this diversity here. How you think about there, how the police start deal with all this on the first hand, but before a lot of people don't speak English, a little difficult, and How did things work on this thing starting back years ago?
I've been in this town since Marcelo and Tony Bazziato got here. And, you talk about...
I have been with Marcelo today. We drink a beer together today in Marcelo's bar.
And he didn't call me? But, I know these guys when they came here as young kids. I was a young kid myself then, being a cop back in those days. And Tony and Eddie were probably two of the first guys I ever met. Talk about joking around. I went to a loud noise complaint. They had a band playing, and they had a loud. I was like, and at that time, every Brazilian in the city was there, and that was a total of about 45 people. I'm going back to the late 80s, and that was the entire community at that time. Which now we probably have 10 or 12,000 Brazilians here, but that was my first experience at meeting the Brazilian community. And the first two representatives that come up are Tony and Marcelo. Wow. Tony comes up, hey, buddy, how you doing? The music too loud. And Marcelo, he was preaching. I was like, guys, it's no big deal here. It's a Sunday afternoon. Of course, it was a Sunday. Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. It's not that big a deal. I said, make your deal. Let's just turn it down a little bit here. You leave it there, and nobody's going to break up your party. So I'm walking back to the car. Tony's like, hey, when do you get off work? I said, about an hour. He's like, hey, we'll still be here. Come on. That was my first meeting of having a churrasco. He said, you got to come back for a churrasco. I had no clue what that was.
You don't know where?
It was on Elm Street.
Elm Street. Oh.
Elm Street. There used to be a house there with a big backyard by the church.
I'm going to translate a little bit in português so people understand. Ele está falando que ele, há 30 anos atrás, ele teve uma experiência aí que uma pessoa estava pegando uma menina para dentro da floresta e ia estrupar ela. E ele conseguiu ouvir e ele salvou a vida dessa menina. Hoje eles têm uma relação muito boa. Ele tem 43 anos de polícia aqui na cidade de Denver. Hoje ele é sargento na cidade. São 45 anos vendo pessoas indo e vindo. Então ele entende muito da nossa cidade. E o primeiro contato dele com os brasileiros foi com o Tony Baseado, que todo mundo conhece, e com o Marcelos. É o Marcelos, dono do Marcelos Bar?
Não, o Marcelo
Aquele
Menezes.
Tá vendo reloginho, né? O Marcelo. E foi com eles que ele experimentou o primeiro churrasco brasileiro. Então, ele conhece muito brasileiro. A esposa dele, I'm telling about your wife, a esposa dele é brasileira. I forgot her name. Rose, a esposa é brasileira, tem uma filha brasileira. Então, de cultura brasileira, comunidade brasileira, ele entende. I'm just clarifying that you understand more about Brazilians.
So that was kind of like, as a cop and as a person, that was my first experience. And I was like, wow, these guys have a good party. A lot better than the American party over there on the other side of town. But to just get lucky and meet Tony is really one of the first people that I knew in this city. And then you guys were all probably not even born yet or children, but
always.
Danbury, one of the first places that Danbury ever had open for Brazilian people, it was on North Street where the Spanish bar is right now, just before Seatown.
Yeah, Millennium now.
Yeah, that was the first place that really opened up. Tony's like, hey, you got to come to this bar tonight. Yeah, that was the first. People don't understand. You go back 40 years ago here. Now, especially in the Spanish community, they're pretty good about opening up a lot of bars and their restaurants and places. But that didn't exist. One of the ways in which I really became ingrained in the total immigrant community, not just the Brazilian community, but all of the communities, whether it was back in those days, 1980s, 90s, we had a lot of Dominican, a lot of Colombians. So they didn't have a bar. They didn't have a restaurant. What they would do is back at the Masonic Temple in those days, sometime the Elks, they would host their own party. They would hire a band, and they would have the entire community come, which in those days might be 250 people. And I used to work those parties every single weekend. So this week I would meet everybody from the Dominican community. Next week might be everybody from the Ecuadorian community. The next week might be the Brazilian community. This is before we had all of these bars that we have now. You know, now you got a lot of options. In those days, you went to that party, you didn't go to one.
Yeah, if you wanna on this time, if you wanna eat some Brazilian food, you have to go up to New York.
Yeah, yes, 100%. So you see where we've evolved in the community now to where, you know, all of these things, now you got 50 choices here,
Yep.
pretty much
Yeah.
for every ethnic group.
Ethnic, yes. Uhum. Ele está falando, né, que não tinha esses monte de bares brasileiros, né, e restaurante brasileiro, e lá, vamos falar, em 30 anos atrás, então foi onde que ele se conectou com o Toninho Baseado, sempre chamava ele, você tem que vir nesse bar, então ele foi se conectando aí com a comunidade. E eu tenho uma pergunta aqui para fazer para ele, vou começar aqui com as perguntas. I have seen you a lot in the Fox News. So you have been busy, famous.
I've been busy a lot. I mean, I've done lately a lot of Fox, a lot of Newsmax. You know, it's kind of strange because they're competing forces. You know, you got kind of like the up-and-coming stars against the big star between Fox and Newsmax. But one thing that I like, they allow me to do both shows, both studios. I feel loyal to Fox because Fox did give me the Patriot Award. You know, it's a big honor, and I will always be loyal to them. But Newsmax treats me great also. Newsmax is a little more smaller, a little more tighter. You know, it's not a big studio with hundreds of people in it. You walk in, everybody knows everybody. I was just very fortunate. Newsmax, I had to go to work at the inauguration last month. And because I was in town, Newsmax reached out to me and said, "Johnny, you're in town?" I said, "Yeah, we're working here." They're like, "Are you free tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah." Newsmax hosted one of the most elite parties in Washington. It was the hottest ticket to get. And because it was a small venue, they only gave out 150 tickets. And again, what a great time. Everybody was there. All of their big stars and producers and people from the executive offices there. So they've been treating me really well. It's a fun experience, but I got to tell you guys, the experience, whether I go to Fox, Newsmax, or I come here, I really enjoy coming here. There's not a lot of difference. If you have the right people doing the right show, it really doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are. You either put on a good show or a bad show, and this is my second time coming back here, and I really enjoy coming back here. You see, these poor guys never get credit over here behind the scenes, but the job, these guys do the same job, what he's doing there. I see 15 people in Newsmax and Fox. He's doing it by himself, and the end result and the product that you're putting out is just as equal to what I see down there.
Really?
Yeah, and if it was terrible, I just wouldn't come back here. But I look forward to coming back here.
Oh, nice.
You guys really do a great job.
Thank you.
And sometimes it's a little more fun when you're in your own community. Like, you know, when I'm on there, Rose always jokes, you know, my husband's not on TV unless something bad happens, which is really the truth. They bring me in as an expert to talk about, you know, whenever there's a shooting or policing stuff or whatever's going on, crime. And I'm not really on unless something really bad happens. So not that I want bad things to happen or look forward to that, but, you know, that's when I go there. Here I get to come and we really get to talk about community things and what's going on in the city. So I enjoy coming here. It's a different aspect.
Yeah, the thing is good about you is because I have watch you all the time, some videos you post on the internet too. Like you used to be a coach from a football team, and you always involved in the sports on the town too. Like it's good because you are involved with the Brazilian community, the American community. You do different jobs, and this is important for the both community, the American community, the Brazilian community, and the people's because it's not a lot of people do this. I know you are busy. How you find your time to be in all these places all the time?
That's the number one question, and I'm glad Rose is out there and not in here, because she would tell you my time. I have no time. It's my regular job can someday be 16, 18, 20 hours. In that, I got to fit in. We got the hockey team. I have to be at those games. Sometimes I have to go to practices if there's something going on or meetings associated with that. I'm the FOP president.
So
that takes me all over the country.
You are the coach of the team?
I am the assistant coach for the Danbury Hat Tricks.
The Hat Tricks.
Good.
For guys that don't know, and especially the Brazilian community, while we're on that subject, I got to tell you, we are growing an audience of Brazilians coming to the hockey game, which is pretty much unheard of. But there is a trade-off too, and we'll talk about that a little later. I'm not a soccer or football guy, but I am in love with the new Spice City soccer team. Soccer to me is boring. I'm a hockey guy.
Hockey.
We're going 100 miles an hour. You watch a soccer game on TV, it's like you're -5. It's just a slow game.
Yeah.
Spice City Soccer, and for those not familiar, it is the new indoor arena soccer team, and they play at my house at the Danbury Ice Arena. They put a AstroTurf fake grass down. First of all, like, I went to Shawina's last show down there, and I was there because we had a hockey game earlier. It took like 2 days to put that floor down, and then it took another 2 days to put the floor up, and I've been there because that's all plywood you're putting down. I said, when they said we're bringing in a soccer team, I said, these guys are never going to play because we have our games on Saturday night. We don't get off that ice until 11.
Yep.
And then they come in they got to set everything up, put the field down. I said, never going to happen. I was shocked our first game. I see all the guys from Spice City come in, and of course when we finish our hockey game, if we win, we have a beautiful bar in the ice arena now upstairs. Our players are allowed to go to the bar if they win. So we won the game, and I went in with all the players, and everybody celebrates after the game. By the time I came out of the bar, the grass was down.
Wow.
Because they just bring this in and roll it out, the whole field. And they put that whole field down in a couple of hours. But what I really like, and again, I'm not a soccer guy, but I am hooked on this. What I really like about it is it's more like hockey without a stick than it is soccer. They have 5 guys out on the field plus the goalie. But Spice City and all of the teams that play there, the goalie is allowed to come out of the net and come up and join in the offensive aspect of it. Now, the last game, we got the best, not because I'm a hometown guy. You guys all know I call things like I see them. If they were terrible, I'd say we need some improvement. However, Spice City soccer team, we have the creme de la creme of this league so far. I've been to the 2 games that we've had. They won the first game, I think, was 6-1. The other night was 8-2. I mean, they're scoring a tremendous. There's no comparison between our hometown team and the teams that they're playing. And what I like about it is it's kind of like hockey. We have the 5 guys out on there. They'll jump over the boards. In hockey, we only last like 30 seconds because going up and down there. The soccer players are lasting about 2 to 3 minutes, and then they jump back over onto the bench, and 5 more guys jump over. And the passing off the walls and the way the goal is set up, it's recessed into the boards so they can kick the ball, bounce it off the back, and then get a shot. It is really, really exciting soccer. I would, anybody that likes soccer even a little bit, and now it's funny, we're talking about Brazilians coming to hockey games. There were a lot of my hockey people, Americans, coming to the soccer game, and we all had one thing in common. We didn't know the rules, and it was our first time coming to the game, but just like when Brazilians come to a hockey game, and it's a different experience. It's like, wow, this is awesome. Look, they're fighting out there. Last week we said if we could change the rules for the soccer and get a little bit of fighting and a little bit of boarding, this place would be sold out. But I would highly encourage people to go down and see the soccer game, even if you don't like soccer, because I'm not a soccer fan, but one game and I was hooked. I'm not missing any games. I think March 16th is our next home game.
Yeah,
For
o Márcio
the-
tá falando aqui, the Márcio said
Hawk.
the name of the bar down there on the North Street is Alfacinha. Bar.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yes. That was the original bar down there. Yes.
The first Brazilian bar in Danbury.
Alfacinha.
Yep.
Yep.
And the North Street, right
Yes.
after, like, sit
Yeah,
down,
the,
then
the
here.
place now they call
Yeah.
the Millennium. Where
El
is the
Millennium now, right
Yeah.
before
Before
Seatown.
Seatown, if you come the main street,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Turn and go down. Yeah.
Wow, it's like 30 years.
That's
Maybe.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
35 years
Yeah,
ago.
back years ago, yeah. You saw the
so-
Brazilian community grow up down here, and how you think right now? You know, some of the most part of the people back years ago, they don't have a lot. Now, a lot of them, they don't speak English. Sometimes they have some difficult, and when they get stopped by police on the traffic or something like that. And now they have a lot of offices. They speak Portuguese and the Spanish
Yeah.
in the town.
Yes. Yeah. We actually have some real Brazilians as police officers
As
now.
police officers.
We have a lot of Portuguese and Espanol. So communication's a little bit easier. But just going back to something you just said, where we started as a community and where we are now is a community, from my experience. Back in those early days when there was only 45 to 50 Brazilians here, I don't think anybody spoke English. If they did, it was very limited. Where now we have, I would guesstimate, between 10, maybe 10, 12, 14,000. We're getting a lot of these are now third and fourth generations. They're little kids. Some of their kids that I carried around now have their own kids. And what you've seen over the years, especially, you saw it when their children started going to school. A lot of the people that didn't speak any English, when their children started going to schools, bringing home English, watching cartoons, learning English, all of a sudden now the parents are now speaking English. And I would say in the community over the years, I've seen the English portion of it grow rapidly from where we were years ago.
You know, yes, that's true.
Yeah, the population too, I think, because I've been here for 24 years. And when I get here, a lot of the construction has now, we don't have back years ago there. I think they has more and more people come down to Denver. It's not just immigrants, but a lot of people come from New York because Denver is like a safety town. And
Growing city.
Yeah.
And on that same line, what you're talking about is look at the Brazilian businesses in town now. Like, you go back to 35 years ago, all 40 of those guys probably worked for some American somewhere,
Yep.
whether it was landscaping, construction, or whatever they're doing. 35 years later, all of those guys and their kids and the other generations are now, they're all open in their own businesses. So now they're the bosses, and they have people working for them. So that's a big change that we've seen through the community, from where we were when we grew up to where we are. You're just seeing there's a significant number of businesses now also. And I look at some of I know these people. I know where they came from when, I'd go to their house and there was like 12 people living in a one-bedroom house. And now these guys have nicer houses than I do. Because, hey, they worked hard.
Yes, they work hard, yeah.
They scratched and saved, and they opened up their business, and they've done well. So hats off to them.
Oh, how nice. So how many police officers are in Denver?
We're slated for 170, but we never really have a full complement because you hire 3 guys, 2 guys retire, 1 guy gets hurt, some guys out. We're in the area right now, I would say, of probably 148, 150, 153, somewhere around there at any given time.
So do you think it's enough to take care of our town?
Yeah, if we're in our full complement, we're pretty good here as far as what we have. Could we always want more? Sure. I mean, how many people say there's never a cop? You never see a cop when you need one. I'd love to have one on every corner, but for the most part,
I see cop everywhere. Everywhere we go in the town, we see the cop.
I think Denver is a nice core with the number of cops, and the community here too. I saw everything the people need. They always there all the time.
You don't see a cop in Brazil. You can drive like miles.
Now, when I went to Portugudo, I saw them on every corner there. Got to go to the tourist area.
Like São Paulo.
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro, big city.
And if they come, there's like 8 guys in a pickup truck with machine guns.
Yeah, John have a communicate with some police in Brazil in Valadares. I remember when you do some donation to them, no?
Yeah, those guys. Whenever we go home, or Rose goes a lot more than me, but things that I know that they don't have the equipment that we have. So one of the big things that's really in high demand over there is a bulletproof vest. Like here, that's a standard thing. Everybody's got a vest.
Yep.
Over there, they're far and few in between. And in America, one. And I think the last stat we got was like 1 in 1,000. 1 out of 1,000 cops in America may be involved in a shooting. May be involved.
Maybe, yep.
I've been doing this job 40 years. I've been present when we're involved in shootings. I personally haven't had to pull a trigger, and it's not like I've been in every hot unit, SWAT unit, my unit that I'm with now. I mean, look. If there's bad people out there, we're dealing with them. But again, just never had to do it. In Brazil, I was shocked to learn a number. 1 out of every 25 cops has been involved in a shooting.
Yep.
Most of them have been involved in multiple shootings.
Yep.
And not a lot of guys have vests. So what I always try to do, if I go over, our guys, we're spoiled here. We replace our vest after a few years. And that other vest, it'll still work. So I try to collect up the old vests from guys. I put out an email to the FOP and say,
nice.
hey guys, I'm heading to Brazil. Anybody got an old vest that they could give me? Some of sometimes our new hottest holsters that they may not even have seen. Whatever you guys got that you can give me, I'll load up a suitcase and, we bring them out, and I try to distribute them to the guys.
Yeah, I remember, I think back years ago when I think the guys is a captain from Brazil, they come.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
It's really great when guys come to town, and it's the same thing when I go to their town. Like, my first trip to Brazil, went with Tony, and we went to Portugudo, and we met some guys that were working. I said, hey, they're all cops. I go, why don't you guys come out tonight with me? And, the drinks will be on me. Because that's generally, if I go to L.A., hey, when I show up there, them guys bring me out and take care of me. When guys come to Danbury here, I always try to, you want to be a good host. And them guys came out, and we drank from like 6 to about, I didn't realize bars don't really close there. I think it was like 4 a.m. with food and shrimp and fish. And I said to Tony, hey, I'm going to pay this bill because I invited these guys. It was like 14 guys came from the shift. And I said, Tony, how much? And Tony's looking, he goes, we spent a lot of money, Johnny. I'm like, all right, it's the first day, we're okay. How much we spend, Tony? He's like, well, it's going to be $300. So I take out 300 and give it to him. He goes, no, 300 real. I said, Tony, how much do I owe you? He goes, well, it's going to be like $35 for each of us. I said, for all night? That was my first experience saying, wow, there's a lot of value for your dollar on this vacation. But guys have been great. I enjoy going over there and anywhere in the world. One thing about policing is that I do like about this job. And I don't care if you could take a Palestinian cop and you could take a Israeli cop, you could take a Russian cop, and you could take a Ukrainian cop, put everybody in the room, and we only see
We see
cops.
cops.
We don't see ethnic backgrounds. We don't see that. That's why I'll be honest with you. I was pissed off a lot during 2020. I was so sick of turning the TV on and saying, "Oh, you're a racist. This guy's a racist. This guy's a racist." I've been hosting Police Week in Washington, D.C. for 30 years. When we go there, first of all, there's cops from all over the world, and I've seen what I'm talking about, that no one cares where
you're
anybody's from.
from.
Just that you're a brother, you're a sister. But I see black, white, Hispanic, Brazilian, Asian. Nobody cares what anybody is. It's the most, like we always talk about in America, hey, we all need to get along, which I fully support and agree with. Everybody, none of these things really should matter to anybody. But what I see with them guys is we are at where everyone else in the world strives to be. But we didn't get much credit for that in 2020.
Yeah, that was true. Ele está falando aqui que ele, né, como policial, ele nunca faz discriminação de um policial se ele é preto, se ele é de Israel, se ele é da Rússia, não importa a etnia dele, né? Não importa de onde ele vem. Eles são tudo brothers and sisters, eles são família, eles estão para trabalhar. Ele não tem discriminação de policiais com ele. So what about the Denver SWAT team working in inauguration?
Like I say, it was an awesome trip down.
Yeah.
We've done 4. When they have an inauguration, you have to close Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House all the way down to
When
the
was
Capitol. The 20th,
The 20th.
January 20th. Now I've done
All this
George.
year, right?
Yeah, just 3 weeks
this,
ago.
yeah.
I've done George Bush's inauguration. Done 2 of those. Donald Trump, his first one, and then this one here. And we also did Biden's.
Biden's, yeah.
You know, look, we're
Gente,
non-political when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, that goes back to, look, I'm there to assist the Washington, D.C. police. They bring in 3,800 cops from all over the country. I'm standing
38.
next to a guy on my right from L.A., a guy on my left from Florida. Everybody works together to make that a safe event.
Protections, yes. Gente, ele teve agora na inauguração, né, do dia 20 de janeiro para o nosso presidente aí, Donald Trump. Ele e o time do SWAT de Denver. Então, ele está aqui falando que ele foi, eles fizeram, né, estava perto de vários diferentes policiais, estavam ali para proteção ali daquele momento da inauguração do presidente novo aí. Ele já fez para o Trump, ele já fez para o Biden, ele já fez para o George Washington. Né?
George Bush, yeah.
Ah, o George Bush. Então,
I ain't that old now. Easy, girl.
não importa o presidente, né? Quando eles são chamados para trabalhar, eles são chamados para trabalhar. Now about the immigration in the community, no eyes have not been in Danbury.
No. One thing,
about the-
listen, these are all my family and friends out here, too. And one thing that I would like to set everybody at ease a little bit, I fully understand how everybody feels. I can tell you my own family, my mother-in-law is here visiting from Valadares. She comes over once or twice a year. She brought my aunt with her. When they come, her and Chia just want to go out shopping. That is their trip to Danbury. I don't think they spend 10 minutes in the house. And, you know, and they come and they visit all of the family. It kills me because Rose goes with them, and I know that them credit cards are getting banged this week here. But some of my family members didn't want to leave the house, didn't want to go to the mall. And folks, I can tell you, and I fully understand, I've gotten more than, people don't call 911 for these answers. My phone rings. I've gotten more than 100 calls on my cell phone in the last 2 weeks. And people were asking, is it safe to go to the mall? Can I go to the gym? Can I, my buddy who's an American said, should I close my car wash? You know, I got to protect my people. I'm like, bro, nobody's coming to a car wash. I just want to be very clear so that we can maybe calm some of these fears down, that ICE has not been to Danbury. All these photos you're seeing, the photo that everybody sent me, the photo of the mall, they're at the mall.
Yeah.
There's no trees
They
like
are-
that,
yeah,
no stop
they are
sign.
the right tree.
That was not the mall, and they were not there.
Yeah.
They have been out. They've been in Hartford, the New Havens, the Bridgeport, the bigger cities, and I try to tell. I mean, and look, it's my own family too. That I try to convince people, if you have been here, and a lot of the people calling been here 20 years, 25 years. If you have been here a significant amount of time, and you had no police contact, you didn't get arrested, you didn't have any issues with the police, they're not going to have any issues. These are not the people that they're coming to look for. The people that are coming right now, especially in this first phase, they're out there. Tom Holman is a friend, and I've watched every posting that he's done. Look, they're coming out right now for the worst of the worst. The Tren de Aguas, these people. And these are the people that
they need to go. Sorry.
No one wants them in their community, you know.
No.
And I can tell you this, especially as far as this community goes. Yes, I picked up some very bad people from Brazil, but I didn't pick their name out of a hat. Someone in the community, whether they were legal, didn't have papers, people would call us. When you know somebody that, in one case, it was a murderer, they said, hey, this guy's a murderer in Brazil, and we checked, and wow, he was a murderer from Brazil. No one wants him in their community, you know, and whether it's an American or a Brazilian or an Ecuadorian, look, a murderer is a murderer, and it's not somebody you want around your children. Somebody who did a sexual assault, we don't want them around our wives or girlfriends.
The people just get scared, but like they ask here if the police are work with ICE, and the answer is now. John already told us is no. They come after the people they already has commit a crime, and the thing the people has to do, and the other thing you have to let them know is our own community stop to spread a lot of fake news, because this make people get scared. Some of the people, they don't speak English, they don't know what happened, and these people sometimes don't go out to work, and our community has to know that don't spread the fake news, because you put the people in panic. This is not good for the community, it's not good for the police, because they start calling them all the time, and they have a lot of work to do.
And something else I want people to understand that I think is very important. If you're the victim of a crime, if whatever that is, you don't have any problem or worries to call the police. We are going to come, and we are going to, and this is, I'm talking about police across the state, whether you live in Hartford or Bridgeport or Danbury. If you are a legit victim of a crime, do you know how many people call my cell phone and say, Johnny, I got robbed, or this guy stole my car, but I can't go to the police? Yes, you can. You're never, ever going to have a problem if you are reporting a crime. If you're the guy doing the crime, that's a different ballgame. Mm-hmm. But if you are a victim of the crime, everyone should feel comfortable with calling us up and having a police officer come there and investigate that.
Yeah, and there is a big difference between ICE and DAA.
And HSI.
DAA and ATF. So
FBI. Let's see, who else we got? CPB. Just a lot of people don't understand this.
So people see the DEA next to the courtroom, next to the court in the North Street. They get afraid. Pictures go like viral. Oh, that's the ICE. ICE is this DEA doing their job.
The Drug Enforcement Administration. If you have drugs, you might want to be nervous. Let me just explain a little bit, so maybe that can ease some fears too. I got tons of calls, HSI jackets. HSI, they do come around. HSI is Homeland Security Investigations. That's the letters at the top. Underneath them, you have ATF. They investigate guns in bombs and that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Then you have DEA. They investigate crimes of narcotics. In under HSI, when we worked at the inauguration, there was every alphabet letter agency was there. We didn't know who I could have got a DEA guy. I could have got. We were assigned an HSI girl. So because I can tell you, even we don't know. the lettering on a jacket that says HSI, she could be assigned to, they have hundreds of units. So I walk over, introduce myself, and say, "How you doing? Sergeant from Danbury." I said, "Ma'am, where do you work in HSI?" She was every lady's dream. If Rose was there, she would have been climbing over the barricade to come talk to this girl. Her job in HSI, she is the customs person that checks the purses and all the designer stuff to make sure if they're being imported that they're real. That's her only job. She's never arrested anybody for an immigration violation. Her only job.
O trabalho dela é ficar investigando as bolsas de marca, essa HSI. Então, cada um tem o seu, né, investigação da bolsa de Louis Vuitton. Quem está fazendo a marca, quem está vendendo, né, falsificando.
That's for a lady, that's the dream job. All you're doing is looking at designer purses and handbags and shoes all day. But that was her function. And again, she works for HSI. So there's just if somebody sees that jacket, it doesn't. And and they come in once in a while. They'll come in and arrest some real bad people because they do those investigations. But it shouldn't be anything. Again, I know that everyone that's sitting in this room has probably gotten calls this week, and no one has ever been here. So I would just say to the community, everybody take a deep breath. I fully understand where you're coming from. I deal with my own family on this, but there's really no reason to stop doing the things that you were doing. Especially if you're a person and you have never had any police contacts or never had a problem in your life, nobody's coming looking for you.
Yeah, the other guy here, his name is Marcio. He asked if you can talk about on the time, I don't remember this, on the time when two brothers used a bomb in the police department and the bank in the Main Street, if you work on
Oh, my God.
there.
Well, actually, we're lucky. We talk about generations in policing. My dad was a cop.
Oh, yeah, your dad is a cop.
Yep. At that time, I went to St. Joseph's School. I was like 68, I believe. I was like 6 or 7 years old. I think I was in first or second grade. What happened? It's probably, they made a movie about it. They wrote a book about it. It's probably Danbury's most infamous crime.
Oh, yeah, I never heard about it.
What they did was the Pardue brothers came to Danbury. They were terrorists. They came to Danbury. The old police station is down where the library was now.
Yep.
Down to there.
Yeah, Main Street.
They came down. They put a bomb in the lobby of the police station. When that blew up, everybody obviously came down there. Deputy Chief Gannert fell through like 2 floors into the basement. My father, his job in those days was to drive the prisoners. We didn't have a jail here. He had to drive the prisoners. He would leave Danbury and go to Bridgeport. And remember, there's no cell phones, there's no internet, there's no Facebook in them days. He leaves Danbury, there's a police station, he comes back and it's gone. He's like, what's going on? And then the Pardue brothers went and robbed the bank on Main Street. They blew that up, and then left in where the downtown, the apartments are there. That could go over Kennedy Avenue, Kennedy Flats, those big luxury apartments. That used to be the mall in Danbury back in the day. You go back, that was in the 70s, 60s, 70s. That was the first mall we ever had. And they drove the car down there, put another bomb in that. My dad was involved in that, recovering all of the evidence. The bomb that went off blew the roof of the car. They found all of the pieces of the car, but they couldn't find a roof. They found a roof like 3 months later up on top of the mall. They blew it up on top. So that was probably one of our most infamous. They get arrested. They go to jail. While they're in court, they end up breaking out. They took a U.S. Marshal's gun, the guy that guards a judge and has a gun. They took his gun, got into a shootout, and I believe one of them were killed instantly there, and the other guy, he got released maybe 10 years ago or so. But
wow.
That's probably Danbury's biggest and most famous crime.
Wow, the 2 brothers bombs.
That somebody knew that is impressive.
Yeah,
that's the kind of listeners you guys got.
Probably he read the book or.
Oh, they made books, movies. That was a pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So can you answer this for my friend? So he's talking about This one here.
The best answer I can give you is I don't know, because I've asked that question also.
Yep.
The Lake and Riley Act is only signed last Wednesday, so that gives a different set of directives. I think most people in the community are familiar with the Trust Act. The Trust Act prevents law enforcement officers from interacting with ICE. We can only do it with the Trust Act under certain conditions. Basically, to make this simple terms for the folks, an A and B felony, which are the most serious of crimes. An A felony is the most serious of crimes. A B can be a very serious crimes. If someone is arrested for that, then we can interact with ICE. Other than that, it does not allow, and it also forbids us. Back in the day, they used to have that 287G program. It forbids local, whether it's Danbury, Bridgeport, Hartford, no officers can participate in that. That's what the Connecticut law does. Now, the Lake and Riley Act, no one in the state, and that's a great question, because I'm getting the same questions from, is an FOP president, I'm getting cops from all over the state saying, what are we supposed to do? I have currently reached out to some police chiefs. I figured, well, these guys may know, because the police chiefs have a big meeting, and so what are we doing? And it is so new that nobody really has, I can tell you right now, there's no change, only due to the fact that it's so new that there's going to have to be direction given by either a U.S. Attorney's Office or our state's attorney, but that act, this is across the state. Nobody really knows, because one conflicts with the other.
Yeah.
My thing is, hey, I'm just a worker bee here. Tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. But it's not just Danbury; it's across the state. No one really knows. I assume that will probably be answered down the road a little bit. But as of right now, today it's 1 week old, so it hasn't really come into effect or play yet.
Yeah. So we are very happy to have you here tonight.
No, I love being here.
Before you go, we're going to tell us, are you running for mayor?
That seems to be the other question of the week. I only got about 150 calls on that. And I'll tell you what, I'll make you guys a deal with this.
That was the truth.
When I come to a decision, we will come back here and announce that decision. I have been asked. I initially said that, see, you understand, I promised my wife 2 years ago that the last time I was here, I'm going to retire and I'm going to Florida. And I will tell you, I think if you remember then, I said there's probably only 1 or 2 jobs that would keep me around here.
Yeah.
I really do want to go to Florida. We just got back. It's just a different world. I get up in the morning, I open up the doors, I'm looking at dolphins. It's a really good thing.
You walk in the sand and you look at the sun.
It was 70 degrees. I came back to 7. So, that's a big factor in a push. But I will say this, look, it was great to be asked.
Yeah. Because you've been in Danbury for
my entire life. 62 years of being in Danbury. Mm-hmm. And I do know a lot of people from all walks of life in Danbury. There's no decision that's been made. I am going to look. They're supposed to be doing a poll coming out. When the poll comes out, we'll get a look at some of those numbers. It'll give people choices on, who would you like to see as your next mayor, and people can vote for who they want. I do have a good
desire to be, or you not sure? You have your heart there, or
it's like this, and I've a lot of people are asking me this question, and it's, again, this is all something that's been around for the last month, but there's a lot of reasons to run, and I just want to say, look, Roberto is the 7th mayor that I have worked for. I've worked for 7.
Wow.
There's not many people in this city that's worked for 7 different mayors.
Wow, 70, yeah.
You know, and I got to say, I some good, some bad. I got along with all of them. I have a good relationship with Roberto. You know, we might not always see eye to eye on things, but you know what, as men, you know, we always, you know, he was at the soccer game the other day, you know, we were able to laugh and joke and I honestly think that's how things should be. Gene Iroquois, like a lot of people, I constantly get the question because I work for 7 mayors, who's the best mayor we ever had? You know, of course, I'm partial to my cousin, Dean, when he was here. You know, his family did a great job.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people, the Brazilians, I like him too.
I thought,
He's a cousin.
I thought Dean was going to run again. When they initially asked me, I said, look, you know, Dean's my cousin, and I'll come work for him. And I was a little bit surprised when he said he wasn't going to run. And then that kind of opened up. There's not just me. There's some other people that have that have expressed interest. Candace Fay has expressed interest. Michelle Coelho, I love. Michelle is as good as.
I like. This is my feelings. Like you have me be involved in the law enforcement for all these years. And you also has a good relationship with the Brazilian community. And the
Ecuadorians and Dominicans.
Yeah. On the end, you have been involved in the sporting on a community too, American community. And I feel you are prepared today in case if you decide to run. And I feel you are prepared today. And I feel you can be a good mayor because you know about everything happening here, and it's not easy because, like you said, it's a long time you work with the community, and the best of all this, you work on the law enforcement too.
Yeah, you know, the one thing about this job is a law enforcement. It prepares you for pretty much everything in life because in this job you're doing so many different things, and you know you could leave this job tomorrow. I've had some other offers to do some private security, and after the shooting of the New York CEO, you know, SWAT guys were at a premium. So everybody was calling, hey, do you got a guy? Do you got a guy? I had people calling me, hey, I said, guys, I like my job I got now. I'm going to stay where I am. But, you know, there's a lot of money to be made out there. You just do so many things, but I don't care what job it is. The number one thing in any job is you got to be a people person. You got to be able to relate to everybody. So, you know, these are the things that it does prepare you for.
For a lot of the things, yeah.
You know, if you're a police officer, it could be something as simple as running a scene of an accident or a crime scene, but you're the guy in charge. You're running a city, you're the guy in charge. A little bit bigger scale, but it's a great job to prepare everybody for everything. So, you know, I'm thinking about it. You know, Florida's really nice. If I could do that job remotely, I'd be in tomorrow.
Yes.
But
where have you been there? Where would you like to go?
Oh, I can tell you, we'll be going to St. Petersburg. There's an island in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, but
yeah, my daughters do the college up there in Fort Myers.
Oh, it's just we always take a trip down there. But you know, it's again, dream job. I mean, like in reality, who wouldn't want to be the mayor of a city? I think it's a great job. Like I say, I've worked for 7 mayors.
7.
You know, Dean, one of my favorites.
70.
7 mayor. I ain't that old now. Listen, you're killing me tonight, girl.
Because because the thing you know what happened in Brazil, they go just 4 and 4 years. He's just in 2 and 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years here, but like, all right, like one of my favorite mayors, and you know that's one thing. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I either like you or I don't. That D or that R don't really mean anything to me, but one of my favorite all-time mayors is Gene Iroquois. You know, I worked for Gene a long time. He was an awesome mayor. And what I loved about Gene, and I've always tried to model myself after some of the things that I loved it. One year where the police were fighting with the mayor's office. They didn't want to give us all of the money that we wanted, and they were trying to cut back on some budgets. So it's just business, nothing personal. I was a union president. I was on the front page of the paper going off. I've said, hey, it's not my fault. It's not my job to do budgets. It's my job to go out and arrest people, but it's their job to give me the equipment. They were complaining we didn't have enough money overtime. I said, that's not my problem. My job is to come in and work it. It's your job to pay it. So the next day, of course, Gene's in the mayor, is the mayor at the time. He's in the paper, and he's hammering me in the paper. I'm hammering. And then the paper comes out the next day, and it's like 2 p.m, and Gene calls me and goes, hey, we going to get dinner tonight? I'm like, yeah, but that was when Mimi's was the hottest attraction in town. And, we get on and we laugh and joke. The business should never be personal.
I think he will be happy if you run for mayor, Dean.
Yes, I think that, you got Dean, you got Gene, these guys have all been my friends for 100 years. I would love to see Dean come back, but, he already did it, so, I get that.
Hey, Ederleison, amanhã o prefeito vai estar aqui, o meia vai estar aqui com a gente. Você pode fazer essa pergunta, ele é a pessoa mais indicada a te responder, porque a imigração não tem muito a ver com a polícia, não, porque a polícia é uma coisa, a cidade é outra. O prefeito é que manda na polícia, aqui nos Estados Unidos é o prefeito que manda na polícia da cidade, mas amanhã você entra com a gente, vem na live com a gente, vai começar às 7 horas, e aí você faz essa pergunta, a gente vai perguntar para ele e a gente vai saber dele o que eles podem fazer para proteger os imigrantes. Beleza? E obrigado pela pergunta.
So thank you so much, John, for being here with us.
Oh, I love coming here.
Thank you for taking your time. I know you're really, really busy, but you take time always, make your
never say no to Poditudo. This is an
much.
Enjoyable evening when I come here. It's fun.
Thank
Not
you
like
for
work.
putting all the words there for us about what we're living right now.
No, I get it. If I can leave people with one thing, go live your lives. There's no issues right now. You're not going to have any issues.
Just thank our supporters again, Najib. Talk about them, about our supporters, our sponsors.
Oh, so thank you so much again
My
for being
pleasure.
here with us. A gente quer agradecer, gente, de coração aí pelos nossos que tem nos dado, né, suporte. Como é que fala?
Que tem nos patrocinado, nossos patrocinadores.
Patrocínio, gente. Palavra melhor, né? Patrocínio, a Grabtree aí, a Toyota. Se você precisa de um carro, gente, ele está ali, olha, sempre facilitando a compra, alugando, comprando seu carro. O Vanil, ele é assim, você chega lá, você apresenta o que você quer, ele te dá um jeito. Então, ele trabalha com financiamento, né? Ele não vende o carro, mas ele tem as pessoas certas para te vender o carro. Ele trabalha hoje no departamento financeiro. Isso que te ajuda muito. Como é que eu vou financiar? O que eu preciso para financiar? E ele deixou bem claro aqui na live. Seja um passaporte, um tax ID, a sua situação, ele vai te educar nessa área. Então, se você está precisando de um carro 4x4, a gente que mora aqui desse lado, que tem a neve, né, precisa de um carro 4x4. É mais seguro, é melhor para a gente locomover, a gente que tem criança, quem não tem criança. Então, se você quer um truck, ele tem como trazer. Se ele quer Nissan, ele tem como trazer. O carro que você quiser. Se você quiser um Porsche, ele falou que tem como trazer um Porsche também, gente. Então, gente, procura aí o Vanildo, que ele tem todas as qualidades na venda do carro. E nós queremos agradecer aí, ó, o DJ Cat, tá fazendo Uber. Aqui dentro da cidade ele tá com uma promoção muito boa, $5. Eu não confio em muita gente dirigir as minhas filhas, mas o Dudu é meu amigo, a gente de perto. Ele tem levado as minhas filhas na escola, às vezes que eu estou muito atarefada. Uma pessoa assim, de extrema confiança. Você precisou de um Uber? Chama o Dudu Cat. Muito obrigada hoje aí por estar com a gente nessa live, obrigado pelas perguntas e desculpa se a gente não conseguiu responder todas, porque a gente teve que ficar meio assim, que fala ou que não fala, e a gente agradece aí o nosso sargento que esteve aí com a gente, entendeu? Acredita naquilo que ele falou, entendeu? Não ficam com medo, ele está aí falando, não estão trabalhando ainda na nossa cidade, vocês ouviram hoje à noite de um sargento. Então, é lógico que a gente tem que andar com cautela, fazer a nossa parte, confiar no Deus, segurar firme aí, gente. Sai, vão para os seus trabalhos, anda legal, entendeu? Se dirigiu, se bebeu, não dirija. Pega seu Uber. E vamos viver juntos aí, torcendo um pelo outro. Vai dar tudo certo, já deu tudo certo. E nós estamos aí juntos para estar ajudando um ao outro, né?
E obrigado ao John, que está aqui. John, thank you again.
No, de nada.
And maybe in the next year, or next mayor, John Krupinsky. Thank you, John.
No, thank you guys. Great time tonight, as always.
You have any message you wanna leave for the peoples what us right now?
Just tell everybody, look, folks, go live your lives. You're safe right now. No one has been in town. Go out, go shopping, go do what you got to do. Go to the gym. There's really been no issues.
Go to eat some picanha, right? Go to eat some
I'm still waiting for my picanha from Lula. I didn't get no Lula picanha.
Come on, no.
I didn't get a blue pen from me. I got nothing from the guy here.
You have to come to see me, John.
Oh yeah, I got it. Joe asks me every week, when are you coming back? And
yes.
Again, so busy. I don't have time to eat.
Jim
but,
have been there like a lot.
the food is really
Yeah.
good. But
Jim, the lawyer who's running for now, Kenzie
Oh,
went
yeah.
there. Jim was there. And thanks so much for everybody. Obrigado por todo mundo que tem ali suportado São Paulo Brasileiro Steakhouse, tá, gente? Não fica com medo dentro de casa, não. Venha comer aquela picanha. Obrigada.